From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fairbanks Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story, the Tanana Chiefs Conference 2015 annual convention opened this morning at the Westmark Hotel here in Fairbanks and runs through Thursday.
The theme for this year is Stronger Together for the Next 100 Years. This July marks the 100th anniversary of the 1915 meeting between Interior Chiefs and Judge Wickersham. The convention opened with an elders and youth address where each generation described what this year's theme meant to them. Alaska Governor Bill Walker also addressed the convention this morning. He spoke of Medicaid expansion and legislation he plans to introduce later this week, calling on the convention's help to not leave Alaskans behind. The governor used slogans supporting this year's theme, telling the crowd, quote, "We are all in this together." He spoke of tough cuts to education funding, saying he has tried to ease the blow on rural Alaska with the heaviest of cuts coming to urban districts. He also discussed resource development and employing Alaska residents.
Let's make sure that our resources are developed as the Constitution says for the maximum benefit of Alaskans. And that's what we're going to do. Very passionate about local hire. You know, I've always said I'd much rather have, people on the North Slope, commuting from Minto rather than Mississippi. Right now we have a lot of people from Mississippi that commute back and forth to the North Slope for those jobs.
Supporters of the Fairbanks Forum met this weekend for a fundraising event just before TCC will announce a development in the case at its annual conference. Stephanie Woodard was there and files this report.
People packed the David Salmon Tribal Hall in support of the group of men known as the Fairbanks Four. Kevin Peace, Eugene Vent, Marvin Roberts, and George Fries have been in jail for the 1997 murder of Fairbanks teen Jonathan Hartman. Hazel, mother of one of the men, says it's been a long, almost 18 years.
For me, I still call them boys because they went in as boys. I just pray that they'll just let them home now. They should have been out a long damn time ago.
One of the supporters of the men, April Monroe Frick, runs a blog dedicated to the case.
I remember we were really excited when we hit a number where 100 people total had seen the blog, and we've had regularly had blog posts where 9,000 people an hour see it.
It's been over a year since Bill Holmes confessed to the murder of John Hartman in an affidavit, and now another piece of litigation is moving through the court system.
I don't feel shy in saying this. It's absolutely 100% clear that Jason Wallace confessed to murdering John Hartman, not once, not twice, but over and over and over throughout his criminal career and his life.
The men implicated in that confession have killed other people and are now in jail.
The sheer number of unsolved murders and missing people that surround them, it's mind-boggling.
Another group present was the Tanana Chiefs Conference.
Very important for me to be here, not only in support for the family, but for the boys.
Frustrated by the lengthy process, they plan to make an announcement at their annual convention.
There's delay after delay after delay.
You know, this whole foot-dragging process that they've been going through, it's time to stop it.
A stay has been placed in the courts until March 27th at 4 p.m.
Something that I think the state doesn't realize is that when they leave these giant delays in this open space, we are always going to fill that with mounting support, with mounting funding.
These 4 young men are innocent.
I'm Stephanie Woodard reporting. After he was acquitted on 12 charges in a 3-week trial, the state of Alaska has dropped the remaining charges against Fairbanks man Norman Beverly. Beverly stood trial in February for the alleged attempted murder, kidnapping, and assault of his estranged girlfriend, Tamarian White. The state claimed Beverly shot White in the face at his Fairbanks home. He was acquitted on most counts except the most serious, which were attempted murder and assault. On Saturday, defense attorney Aaron Gonzalez Powell said the state dismissed those charges. Beverly, who was out of jail on $500,000 bail, appeared telephonically. His defense lawyer said it was exactly 3 years ago today that Beverly was arraigned on the charges.
All right, when we come back, the U.S. Air Force will be holding public meetings in the near future to discuss the possible transfer of F-35s to Eielson Air Force Base.
Also this month, the Department of Fish and Game will be transferring 100 wood bison to another part of Alaska in hopes of growing the herd. These stories and more when we return.
And welcome back. The U.S. Air Force will soon hold public meetings to begin the formal process of stationing F-35 fighter jets at Eielson Air Force Base. Eielson is listed as the preferred candidate to house the Air Force's next-generation fighter aircraft. The final decision is expected sometime next year, but there's a big question as to when this new military fighter will be fully ready for action. The F-35 is more technologically advanced than any other fighter, but there have been ongoing issues with it. One of the biggest has to do with training and maintaining F-35 units.
Full development of that capability will come at full operational capability and then with follow-on software loads. So the biggest hurdle to get over between now and then in 2021 that could affect basing beyond the training bases is this maintenance manpower issue. This is a real issue for us.
We want to make sure that our air assets are strong, robust, and fully capable. That's what the F-35s will provide.
The Air Force will conduct public scoping meetings March 24th through the 26th in North Pole, Fairbanks, and Delta Junction from 6 to 8 p.m. each night.
The Alaska village of Galena is getting more financial help with repairing damage caused by the flooding in 2013. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has dedicated $8 million to the project through the Natural Resource Conservation Service. The $8 million is part of $84 million to be spent in 13 states on disaster recovery projects. Most of the buildings in Galena were destroyed or heavily damaged when ice jams on the Yukon River caused major flooding.
One of the most majestic creatures in the world is the bison, more commonly known as the buffalo. Alaska is home to a variety of bison, and now a large herd will be transferred to help them grow their numbers. Mike Schultz has more.
In 2003 and 2008, Alaska received wood bison, which are larger than a normal buffalo, from Canada. And since then, these animals have been living down south of Anchorage.
Wood bison were present in Alaska for tens of thousands of years, and they eventually disappeared in the early 1900s. The last sighting was in the early 1920s. Since then, Alaska has been without a grazer, which is one of the components of the ecosystem. Wood bison disappeared about the same time muskox did. Muskox were brought back to Alaska in the 1970s. About 23 years ago, the concept came up to restore wood bison to Alaska, and this year it's going to happen.
The number is a little over 130, and the goal is to move some of these creatures to the southwest part of Alaska.
And 100 of those are going to fly to the village of Shagaluk early in March on C-130 Hercules. As soon as the weather is good after March 22nd, we can fly them out. The restoration of wood bison to Alaska was based on the fact that the habitat is still there. Humans may have played a role in them going extinct in the first place, and because the animals are still available and Canada supports an international wood bison recovery effort. So the state of Alaska has taken on the responsibility of bringing them back to the state.
The idea behind this project is to protect the animals and allow them to increase their numbers.
Wood bison are currently on the endangered species list as threatened species. However, the state worked with the federal government to get a special rule under the Endangered Species Act, which designates wood bison in Alaska as a non-essential experimental population. What that means, among other things, is that the special protections that go along with the threatened species are not needed for wood bison, and that the special rule does allow hunting and other forms of take as needed to manage these animals. We also developed a management plan with representatives from Anchorage, Fairbanks, and the 4 villages in that area to determine how hunting will be allowed when the herd is large enough to provide a harvest.
Kathy says if everything goes right, she expects the herd will adapt and begin growing within 5 to 15 years. I'm Mike Schultz reporting.
One thing I have to say is that that reminds me of home because I'm from Buffalo. You know, Buffalo Bills.
Sure.
It's all about
so
the bison.
So it could be the Bison Bills?
Could be, but it's not.
Interesting. Bison, New York?
Bison, New York?
Very cool.
Yeah, all right. Okay, well, let's shift gears now to our favorite sports guy, Joe Cook. He's up next with the weekend recap in sports.
And don't miss one of the closest finishes in sled dog racing. That story and more after the break.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening with your weekend recap. But first, we start with today's Iditarod report. It's been a pretty fluid situation at the top, to say the least. According to multiple reports today, Aaron Burmeister was the first to uniloclete, but while Burmeister and Ali Zirkle rested last night, defending champion Dallas Seavey, he just blew right through uniloclete and went on to the next checkpoint to grab the lead. Then Burmeister, he went through Shaktoolik to gain the lead as CV rested for 4.5 hours in Shaktoolik. With the rest, CV roared back and beat Burmeister to Koyuk by just 3 minutes. However, Burmeister's team finished a 16-hour run from Unalakleet compared to CV's 7.5-hour run. So CV more rested team. Now here is the Iditarod leaderboard as of airtime today. CV first into Koyuk. Of course, he's back in the league. Burmeister second. Will probably have a longer rest in Koyuk. They both have 12 dogs. Ali Zirkle is making her way to the leaders in 3rd place. Jessie Warrior, a Fairbanks resident, has climbed her way into 4th place. And Yora Uslam rounds out the top 5. A winner could be arriving in Nome late Tuesday or early Wednesday. There are 4 checkpoints left. The next 2 checkpoints are Elam and White Mountain. Sunday was the conclusion of the Animated Limited North American Championships, and day 3 was pretty exciting. A few hundred dog mushing fans came out to the Jeff Studdard Race Grounds off of Farmers Loop to see who would win their respective classes. This year's 2-dog ski-jur champion is Greg Zurich, finishing in 50 minutes, 54.2 seconds after 3 days of racing. Rebecca Knight was the runner-up in the 4-dog mushing class. Pam Shamber won the event just over a minute ahead of Kim Wells, and Jerry Woods won the 8-dog class by almost 9 minutes with a total time of 103.4 seconds. The race of the day, though, was in the 6-dog class. Salcha's Don Brown came in with a slight lead in the Sunday's 8-mile race. Jennifer Probert Earhart a couple of seconds behind. Earhart won Sunday's race by 4 seconds over Brown, but after the total time was calculated, Brown won the 4-dog title by 0.4 seconds. 61 minutes, 15.9 in total time to Earhart's 61:16.3. Both mushers were surprised by the result. They were pleased with the performance of their teams.
The dogs did really good. I was really happy with how they did. Literally right there on that last corner, there was, of all the camera people all weekend long, I just had the one-wheel dog jumped over right at the last moment right there. And I'm pretty sure the race is down to like 1/10 of a second.
I was not going to get anything more out of this dog team. They gave me everything they had. Every time I asked them to give a little more, they gave it. The trail was a little faster today. Sled handled real well. You know, it's just good competition.
Really incredible finish there. And a national championship in rifle was decided on Saturday right here in Fairbanks. Alaska came close again this year. Let's take a look back to the national final. The Alaska Nanooks came into the final day of the NCAA Rifle Championships with a 12-shot lead over the defending champion West Virginia Mountaineers. West Virginia mounted a comeback in their strongest event, air rifle. West Virginia won by 14 shots in air rifle and win 4702 to 4700 over Alaska to win their 3rd straight national title by just 2 shots. Senior Marin Predator led the way, shooting a .598, 2 shots from a perfect score, and went on to win the air rifle individual national title.
It's probably as close as it can get. They beat us during the season, we beat them during the season. It was always really close.
In their last matches, UAF seniors Ryan Anderson is the national runner-up in small bore, and Mats Eriksson won the Elite 89 award for the 2nd straight year, going to the student athlete with the highest GPA at a national final. Junior Tim Sherry's .596 air score qualified him for the finals, and he finished 8th overall. Garrett Spurgeon won the inaugural Most Outstanding Performer award. He nearly shot 1,180 points in 2 days.
You know, there's a lot of great performances this weekend. You know, Tim Sherry from here at UAF shot really well. I didn't expect that at all, so I can't even describe how I feel to be awarded that.
They're going to take this experience and they're going to learn from it, and I think they're going to, you know, push airgun really hard next year and put a good airgun team together to go along with our small bore.
West Virginia and Alaska finished 1-2 in the final standings for the 2nd year in a row. And now here's the I-5, the interior top 5 plays. At number 5, Matt Surbeck wins the 7.1-mile St. Patrick's Day run in 44 minutes, 59 seconds in 15 degrees below zero temps. Number 4, Jerry Woods wins the 8-dog class in the limited North American Championships by almost 9 minutes, winning over $1,200. Number 3, the Alaska Rifle Team wins their 2nd straight National Rifle Runner-Up Trophy with a final score of 4,700 on Saturday. At number 2, more from the Rifle Team. The Alaska Nanooks earned the NCAA Small Bore National title with a score of 23-31. At number 1, Don Brown of Salcha wins the 6-dog class limited North American Championship by 0.4 seconds over Jennifer Probert Earhart.
To vote for the Play of the Week, click on your play on the I-5 poll on Webster11.com. You can also comment on the KTVF Facebook and YouTube posts, and send a tweet to KTVF11 Sports on Twitter for your vote. The Play of the Week will be revealed this Friday.
The I-5 Sports Report is brought to you by Adient Orthopedic Physical Therapy.
And don't forget to log on to Webster11.com and fill out your NCAA March Madness bracket. You could win a chainsaw from the Outpost and 2 large pizzas from Pizza Hut. You have until 8 a.m. this Thursday to fill out a bracket. But that's it for sports tonight. Weather is next with Mike Schultz, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into a Monday edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again talking about weather, and we were talking about warm temperatures last week, and they're moving in. We're looking at temperatures in the mid to upper 30s by Wednesday, the way it looks right now. That will continue into the weekend, so this may be a chance for us to say farewell to winter, the way things are looking. A nice photograph tonight. This one's sent in by, well, actually an anonymous. I couldn't get the name, but there was somebody in Toke sent it in, and I thought I'd use it because we haven't used anything for Toke for a long time. But a Toke sunset, and again, you can see the clouds moving across there. It's a beautiful shot. And as always, if you have a photograph to send in, by all means, send it to photos@ktvf11.com. Here's your almanac right now. 27 degrees. That's our high for the day. The low last night, 1. Record high up to 1937 was up to 46 that day. Down to 40 below in 1959. Your sunrise and sunset about 11 hours and 55 minutes. We'll go over that 12-hour barrier tomorrow. And we gained 7 more minutes from yesterday. Actually, to yesterday. Now, our satellite radar looks pretty impressive, but you know what? All this is coming out of the south, which means the Alaska range right about here is blocking all the moisture from getting into the Fairbanks area. So we're just looking at high clouds that we have right now, and that's going to be the trend because the winds are expected to continue out of the south, and when they come out of the south, they bring warm temperatures. And we're talking about nice change of temperatures from the teens last week to 46 degrees at Anchorage. How about that? 42 raining around Kodiak, at 49 at Ketchikan, some showers there, 39 also showers at Juneau. A little rain and snow in the interior, and up and down the west coast, temperatures warming up nicely there too. Bethel at 21 degrees, Barrow 15, 7 below at Barrow, and it's actually 7 degrees above in the Fort Yukon area. Lower 48 weather, look at here, not a whole lot going on. Just a few showers over the Pacific Northwest, a few showers across Dallas. No severe weather to talk about, but look at Denver, 81 degrees. And in the 90s, once again, across parts of Southern California. Elsewhere, we see temperatures very warm over the Bayou country, 82 degrees at New Orleans, and a little rain shower activity in the New York area. On the satellite and radar, not a real whole lot of organization here. The jet stream is kind of split. One coming up from the south, helping to bring the warm temperatures up from the south, and another one moving east to west, bringing a little bit of moisture across from Canada, but nothing really strong or severe to talk about. And the overall outlook for today, as you can see, temperatures 80s and 90s all over California and moving into the Rocky Mountain region. The overall outlook of the jet stream, once again, way up to the north, bringing showers to Texas, showers on the east coast, and a little bit of rain over the northwest. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. Cloudy skies at Barrow, scattered snow showers in the Nome area and also Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, we'll have mainly becoming mostly sunny by afternoon, with Fairbanks and Delta looking pretty good. A little breezy conditions in the Healy region. Over southeast Alaska, look at the temperatures. Once again, 50 degrees at Ketchikan. Cloudy skies for both Juneau and Ketchikan. While over to the southwest, it looks like for the most part, mixed rain and snow for Cold Bay, showers for Kodiak, and a couple inches of snow is possible in the Bethel region. And over the south central sections, we're looking at mostly sunny skies in Anchorage and Valdez, and partly cloudy skies for Homer. Well, normally it's kids' weather time, but you know what? The kids are off this week for spring vacation. So once again, we will give you a weather fact. And in 1986, Anaheim, California, a small tornado touchdown near Disneyland, but there was no damage to be found. That's good news. As always, thanks to Montgomery County Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. Next week, we'll resume with the kids, this time from Northern Lights Academy. Well, here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. Cloudy skies, a few snow flurries, not as cold, 5 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast, 34 degrees, cloudy early, then clearing and much warmer. And the 5-day outlook, look at those temperatures rising to the mid to upper 30s all the way across the board. Overnight lows will also be rising to the teens to above, low teens to mid-teens, and no precipitation in the forecast. So guys, I think we are definitely moving in a spring direction, which actually happens Friday.
Spring has sprung.
Yeah, Joe's got his thumb up. That's good.
Thanks, Mike. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We're glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, you could win a historic Maine Inn with an essay. We'll tell you more about that with Lester Holt coming up next.
Now you see my problem when it gets very tongue twisty. Right, join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online at any time at webcenter11.com.
From all of us here at the News Center, have a good night.